Hi, welcome to another session of Geeks and Gurus. My name is Megan Bohomama here with Sumo Logic, and I'm so excited today to have Omar Koncobo from Ulta Beauty here with us. We're going to be talking all about holiday shopping and preparing for the holiday rush from a digital standpoint. Omar is the IT director for e-commerce and digital systems at Ulta Beauty. Ulta Beauty is the nation's largest retailer, our beauty retailer, I think with 1,300 physical stores, Omar. And then I think you guys have over $2 billion in business right now for your e-commerce sites.
That is
So
correct.
really, who better to talk to us about preparing for the holiday rush and giving great digital experiences than Omar?
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome. Omar, I thought maybe we could start out maybe talking just a little bit about your team and who is the team that supports you as you guys start to think about the holidays? What does that team look like? And how far in advance do you guys start to plan to make sure that you deliver, a great experience for your customers over the very busy holiday season?
Right. So, it's as you mentioned. So the digital channel is over $2 billion channel. So it takes a whole village to keep it going and running. But the core team that supports it and makes sure that it is ready for the holidays, the core technical team. Our architects, our developers, and now most importantly, our DevOps team that's keeping things running 24/7. And we do get great support from our performance engineering team, getting us all prepped up and ready to support the surge during the holiday season. But as I mentioned, it's a whole village, so the whole IT team, from our networking to security to infrastructure, all get involved, and our business partners also helping us with what is needed to get things going. In Getting ready for our holidays always starts right after the holiday seasons, right? So there's a lot of learning that comes through, and right after the holiday season, while things are still fresh, we try to regroup, try to see where we had some hiccups, where we had some failures, some opportunities for improvement, and we build our roadmap based on that. And that goes through the next cycle. But the critical point comes in starting July. July is where we put the readiness hat back on, and we really start in earnest to test, to fix, to improve, and get everything ready for the season again. So it's an endless cycle, basically.
An endless cycle. Okay. Yeah, that actually Omar spoke at our Illuminate session, our community event in September. And I heard him talk about this, how his team started preparing 6 months in advance. And I thought it was so amazing that you had to start planning so early. And
Right.
so Omar, I'm wondering if you can give us a sense, what percentage of your business comes at the holiday time? And just approximately, just to give the team an idea of how much you have to scale and then sort of slow things down, or not slow things down, but how things change so much over the holidays for you.
Right. So approximately 10% of our business come in through the peak season. This is a combination of digital and our physical stores. So it's really, really important and critical. And when you say pause, I mean, you're not wrong in that the part of the team that actually pauses everything they're doing to just focus on this, right? Because there's a lot that goes into it. Getting alignment on what's the minimum size of our infrastructure, right? So how do we get the customer through the system? Do we let them all come in at once, or do we just, throttle them into the system? We test all this, come up with the scenarios that we think are going to be optimum, where the customer get what they want and the systems are stable for them to have a greater experience. So we test all those combination of scenarios. We go through a bazillion of meetings, getting some feedback and some assessment to those, and going back again. And so basically just do repeat and so on and so forth until we get to the right combination. So yeah.
Is scaling really important and testing for scaling during this time?
Right, and that's one of our big challenges. One of our challenges, Megan. So, and the decision for us actually moving into the cloud. One of the thing about Ulta is that the surge of traffic we get through the holiday is sometimes, 5 times, and in some scenarios, in some years, we actually got 50% more traffic than we get in a day-to-day traffic. Now, that means your infrastructure need to be double the size to support that. But then if you double the size of the infrastructure just to run during the holiday season, which mostly back in the days was a total of a whole week. These days we try to run the holidays over 10, 11 days. But if I take even a month, right, and you have a capacity that's 2 times what you need on your day to day just for a month in a year, and the other half of the other 11 months in the year, you're basically just having half of that traffic going through that infrastructure. So basically, it's a waste of infrastructure sitting, doing nothing for 11 months. And then
Mhm.
1 month you leverage it. So, which is not an efficient way of, making money. You need to be smart about that, right? So scaling is definitely important. So that's why we opted for the cloud, where we can actually scale up and scale down as needed. When in a
Mhm.
physical world, it's difficult to scale up and scale down as needed, right? So you buy
Yeah.
the infrastructure and it's yours, and you can't just go and shut them down and let them sit around, right? But if you're in the cloud, you can auto scale to a certain extent, support your
Mhm.
load. And once you don't need it, you scale back to your normal day to day run, saves you a lot of money.
Awesome. So being in the cloud is really important. I know you guys just made the switch to Google Cloud, I think.
That is
Um,
correct.
okay, cool. And it sounds like so you are doubling your capacity or double you did the traffic doubles
Yeah.
within a very short time frame. And it sounds like you said the holidays. What do you consider the holidays? Is it a 7 day time frame or you mentioned a month? Where do you
Yeah,
guys really
so that's a good question. So the holidays for us is so we have several events, right? So we have what we call uh, what do you call that? We have like they change the name every year. So, but we have like the pre-holiday sales events. Usually they have 2 or 3 of those before Black Friday. Back in the days, Black Friday will start actually on Thanksgiving's night. But now Black Friday starts about the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So I now have like the Saturday before Thanksgiving running all the way till the following Saturday. And then Sunday is where we start Cyber Monday for the following Monday. So Cyber Monday will start on Sunday, run through early AM on Tuesday, right? So when I was only doing from Thanksgiving's night over, so it was about 4 or 5 days. But now if I start on Saturday before Thanksgiving, so you're looking at a whole 10 days run, plus the November pre-holiday season sales that we do. So if you look at all of November to November, that's why we're counting a whole month. But the peak itself is what we call the Black Friday. So now Black Friday is on Saturday. That's when we get the highest load. And then Cyber Monday is also the day where we get the highest load, but usually they're not as high as Black Friday, but it's sustained throughout the day. When Black Friday, you get the surge when you open up. And then after an hour, 2 hours, it comes back down and it's like, trending down. So we have to watch all this. We have to, know all these things so we can plan our infrastructure and our system. So
I love hearing that because we were actually discussing here. We're like, is Black Friday still a thing? Is Cyber Monday really a thing? So now we know. And I also, Omar, I just realized you've probably never had a relaxing Thanksgiving in the past 10 years.
Oh,
Have you?
it's a good point. I mean, for the past 10 years, I mean, here's the thing. I know it is crazy. It's really sleepless nights, but it is rewarding. It's really fun. And, I mean, when you're in it, it's just, I mean, you get used to it. You get to a point where it's like part of it. Can't wait for the next season because it's always exciting.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, something I heard you talk about before, which I feel like is maybe part of the fun part, is Omar was talking about Sumo Logic dashboards that he
Yep.
uses to watch all the activity and the traffic that's happening. So, Omar, I'd love for you to share, like, what do you think are what are really important ways that your team gauges, like, what's happening and whether business is successful or not during this really important season?
Right. Monitoring is key and is top for us, right? So, as part of these preparations and getting ready, one of the things is the dashboards as well. So, we have some key dashboard that we run throughout the year. But as we get to holiday season, there's some specific dashboard that we want for a specific metric, specific performance indicators on the system that we want to watch. And that's where Sumo definitely comes in handy. We have dashboard that tells us how many orders per minute we're running. We have dashboard that tells us what is our hot and faster selling SKU so we can watch them. We have dashboard that tell us how our systems are doing, where our traffic's coming from, what are the security risks that we're seeing as the event is going on. So those are bunch, I think, over 20 different dashboards for 20 different data point that we watch leveraging Sumo to keep things going.
And do you guys have like a mission control room set up to watch all these 20 dashboards?
Right. So that's a good question. Yes, we do have a holiday season room that we block for the whole event. And the team, including some of our leadership and our chief digital officer, actually never misses. She loves sitting in there with us and monitoring and watching all dashboards together. So, yes, we do have that control room. And that's basically the command center for the holiday season.
The command center, I love it. It actually sounds really exciting. It sounds kind of fun
Oh,
when
yes,
things are
exactly.
going up, when things are going right.
Of
What
course,
okay. So, what happens when things aren't going right? Like, what is an indicator? Like, if you get a shopping cart or millions of shopping carts that just aren't working, what happens
right.
then,
So,
Amara?
that's where Sumo also comes in handy. Most of our alerts in our system, real time alerts, are coming out of Sumo. So even though we have people watching the dashboard, we also have people actually watching mailboxes, the alerts, and looking into alerts. So the very first things that we start seeing when um, things are not going right, which we don't like, but it does happen once in a while, is alerts related to system health, right? Could be one of the instances is struggling, or one of the nodes is maxed out on CPU, or the site is slowed down because we got so many users on the system, and Sumo will start alerting on some of those, right? So those are the first indicators when we start getting all these alerts and everything coming through. And then the dashboard will confirm that, oh, okay, you were going 2,000 orders per minute, now it's going down. And you realize that, oops, something is wrong. Or, you can see your Apache traffic level, and then for some reason, out of nowhere, nothing is growing again. You just stuck and you start seeing things coming down. So the alerts and the dashboards are the quick way for us to pinpoint what's going on. And we do have some other monitoring tools that we can jump on that can tell us in the deeper system level where we're seeing pressure or bottlenecks, so we can jump on them and resolve them.
And do you guys use queries much to figure out what's going on as well, or reserve
Yes.
those?
Yes, so most of our APM tools, our application performance management tool, is complementary with Sumo. So most of the time from Sumo logs, we'll see exactly which system the issue is coming from, and we can jump on our application monitoring tool to tell us specifically at what level of the stack we're seeing that, right? So could be that for some reason Sumo shows me there is no traffic coming in Apache. So then between the Apache and our content delivery manager, where's the problem at? So it could be that my F5 is host or my firewall was maxed out and I couldn't get traffic coming through anymore, or could be one of the systems in between. So so many different layers, and having the right tools in place helps to quickly identify where your problem is so you can jump on it real quick.
Yeah, I imagine those are pressure-filled moments.
Oh my goodness, tell me about it.
So I have to ask, because I was at re:Invent 2019, and Werner Vogel, the CTO of AWS, got up and he
Yep,
talked about his worst day at
yep,
Amazon. And so, Omar, I imagine you've been doing this, you've been watching this growing business for 10 years at Ulta
right.
Beauty.
Yep, yep.
Do you have a worst day during the holidays? And would
Oh
you
yes, right.
would you
And
share
during,
that?
yeah, yeah, during the holiday. I mean, anyone who's been in retail and worked through holiday season definitely will have one of those days, unless you're doing something out of this world, right? So, and my bad day actually led us into Sumo, which is a good one to share. So. Um, and it was a Black Friday event where out of nowhere, just 5 seconds within turning the systems, starting the event, we basically just crashed. I mean, the system just crashed. And the tool that we had back then was a tool that was great at the application performance monitoring, but it wasn't great at monitoring logs. So we didn't have a way to monitor the logs and get quick alerts so we know where the issue is coming from. So guess what we had to do, Megan? So I have to call this developer. You take this server, you go to the one instance of that server. The developer two, you take server two, go to instance four. So I have to so everybody's sitting and looking, telling a specific log for an instance of a server. Now you need a whole village to be able to get that over. So it was so painful, and at the same time it's disjointed, right? Because this
Yeah.
person is looking, but you don't know exactly what they're seeing, so you have to keep checking. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? What do you see? That's not an efficient way of monitoring a system. So
Were you guys all in the holiday room when this was
yes,
happening?
exactly. Yeah,
At
all in
these
the
days?
holiday room.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that was the good thing. We're all in the holiday room, so at least we didn't. That was way pre-COVID, right? So no problem there. So and it took us longer to get to the root cause of the issue and solve it, just because we had no way of aggregating our logs and interrogating it. So walking out of that event, the very first thing that we're all thinking is like, okay, we really need a log aggregation tool. Can be relying on 20 people each logging one single server and tailing a single log and expecting things to be resolved quickly. So that was my
How long
early.
did that
Sorry.
how long did that painful moment
Well, I mean,
last?
it took us over an hour to actually get the system stable, and there was a lot of disappointment because the excitement of everybody coming through the system. I mean, I won't sit and wait for an hour for a site to be solved for me to do my my purchase. I'm gonna go to another site, and this is a key moment where you really need to be stable. And that was really disappointing for me. I think that was my second holiday season at Ulta, and it tested me and basically get me into, what, this shouldn't happen again, and I'll make sure I have all the tools, all the manpower, the resources that are that I can get to help me get our operations model to a mature one, just like we are today. I'm not saying we're perfect today, but we do have the great tools and great folks around to now help us get issues resolved really quick. So,
That that
yeah.
is awesome. I'm I'm glad it spurred you to a better place, but I'm
Oh,
sorry you
yeah.
guys had to go
Yes.
through that.
Yes.
Um, Omar, I think it would be helpful, like, for the team maybe who's not as advanced or the people, anyone who's listening who may not be as advanced as Ulta Beauty is.
Mhm.
If you could share maybe 3 pointers or 3, like, must-haves for technical teams preparing for the holiday season. I don't anything
Right.
you think would be helpful for
Mhm.
people to do better work.
Right. So number one is planning. Don't wait until the last minute. I mean, right off the holiday, you need to know what is working, what's not working, and put a list of key things that you need to track for the next year until the next season comes. Right. The second most important thing is making sure that you have the right performance engineering team in place, and start making sure that you're preparing all your different scenarios and executing those different scenarios. And then the tools are really, really important. You can't just hope things you just, I mean, you need to have the right monitoring systems in place. You need to write the right alerting in place and know what you need to alert on, what you need to pay attention to, right? So you can have a vast system, but there could be one single area that's really key, or could be one single area that's great, but then it's critical to your whole infrastructure, and you want to make sure that you have the right monitoring in that place. And for anybody that knows, logs are basically just like the gold when you're trying to troubleshoot an issue. So making sure you have
Mhm.
the right tool that is in place that can get you the right visibility into your logs will get you into a place where you can quickly see your issue and address them, and basically reducing your mean time to resolution.
Okay,
Those
that
two
was
will be critical. Yep.
okay, so planning, getting performance
Yep.
engineering, getting the
Yep.
right tool,
And
and
getting the
then
right
log.
tool. Yeah, and well, I mean, the right tool, a tool that gets you visibility to your logs, right? So
Okay.
there'll have to be a great team that can implement that, monitor, that have the right
Mhm.
queries, and all that all come with that third part of having the right tool with the right resources, the right monitoring, everything in place. So the tool itself is really nothing unless you have the right people behind it and the
Mhm.
right place to put that, so you have the right visibility.
Visibility, it sounds
Yeah.
key. And Omar, just, following the holidays, does this I know there are always returns and stuff. Is that part of your holiday planning, and should teams be thinking about that as well?
Oh yes, team should be thinking about that. I mean, it is. We do get returns. I mean, the first week of January is basically what do you call that? A blackout week, a week where we don't make any system changes to support some of the returns that are coming. But compared to what you're selling, definitely is a smaller part. But still, you want to always have the best experience for your guests, your customers, right? So whether the buying or the returning, you treat them the same way. So you always want to make sure that your system is ready. You have your associate ready to support those returns, and that's always something to account for as part of your holiday period, right? So if you're freezing for the peak days when people are buying, you also need to make sure that your system is stable when people are returning as well. Right, so provide the same amount of attention and support for each of these.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I have to say, I think you guys make it a little too easy to buy. I was on your site the other day, I was like, "Ping, ping, ping." So,
We
yeah,
try.
that could become a habit, Omar. I know, I think we've heard it from the best here. I mean, Omar, I don't know if we could find someone who knows more than you do about, really preparing for the holiday rush. So, thank you for sharing with us. Is there any I do have one final question for you, but before I'll ask, is there anything else that you wanna share just for other people who might be, not as far along as you are, just
Uh,
about getting ready for the holidays?
Well, I mean, it requires patience, and usually, uh, when you run into issues during the holidays, it's really, really stressful, right? You have the whole executive team actually paying attention, because these are, like, critical days, and sometimes they could be in a room, like I was sharing. My chief digital officer always sitting in a room with us, so it comes with that pressure, but the one thing you always need to keep in mind is keep your cool. get the system back up and running. Just think about the customers, not the big shots sitting in a room. See what best you can do, and never freak out, because it's a lot of pressure, and you freak out, you make it worse, right? So and everybody understands that. If you in a place where folks don't understand that, then maybe in the wrong place. But my advice would be, hey, do your best, go in and keep an eye on the system, make sure you have the right tools, and things will be fine.
Awesome. That's such great advice, Omar. I think for preparing for the holidays, for digital, great digital experiences for the holidays and for life.
Right,
So I
exactly.
like it. Um,
Right.
all right, Omar, I'm going to end this Geeks and Gurus with a really important question for you.
Yeah.
There was when I was on Ulta Beauty the other night, tons of stuff to get, but I was looking at the women's side. I wonder for men, is there any product you would recommend for men out there in Ulta Beauty? What is your favorite product? Doesn't even have to be for men, but what's your favorite product on Ulta Beauty,
Well,
Omar?
my favorite product and my go-to product all the time is Apollo Red perfume. That's one
Oh,
perfume I always spray and get. People, you have a great perfume. So that's my go-to perfume. It's called Polo Red, and that's my supply. So I always go for that. But yes, I know the men's section. Sometimes you feel like Ulta doesn't care about men, but we do have a lot of men stuff on the site. For folks with beard and perfume, deodorant. I mean, we do carry a good amount of stuff for men as well. So yeah.
I figured you must, so I had to ask. Apollo Red 5. You heard it here, everybody. All right, awesome. Omar, thank you so much for joining us. It's been super fun talking to you. Good luck to everybody as you prepare for the holiday rush and delivering great digital experiences. We'll see you at the next Geeks and Gurus. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.